Limitless Energy, The Science of Focus, Drive, and Burnout-Proof Productivity. Written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. You don't need more time. You need more energy. Think about it. You've had days with a packed schedule and felt unstoppable. And you've had days wide open and barely made it off the couch. The difference wasn't your to-do list. It was your fuel source. This book isn't about squeezing more hours out of your day. It's about recharging the engine that powers every hour you already have, your brain. Most productivity advice focuses on hustle, grind harder, push longer, and sleep less. But your brain is not a machine, it's a battery, and like any battery, it needs proper charging, deliberate use, and protection from burnout. Focus drains it, drive fuels it, rest restores it. When you learn how these systems work together, you stop feeling like you're running on fumes and start operating in flow. This book will teach you how. But don't expect fluff. We're going under the hood, into neuroscience, behavior loops, and high-performance habits that align with biology. You'll learn why distractions steal more than your time, why dopamine isn't about pleasure but pursuit, and why downtime might be the most strategic move you make all day. As the speaker Les Brown once said, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. That's where most people live, inside a constant blur of busyness, unable to see why they feel so tired despite doing so much. This book steps outside the frame. It shows you the full picture of how your brain works best, so you can stop surviving your schedule and start designing one that energizes you. Whether you're a high performer looking to stay sharp without flaming out, or someone tired of sprinting into walls of exhaustion, you'll find tools here. Simple, science-backed, real-world strategies that help you focus deeper, stay driven longer, and recover faster without guilt. You don't need more grit. You need a better system, one that's built on how your brain actually works. Let's power up. Chapter 1. The Myth of Multitasking. Why Scattered Brains Drain Fast. Your brain was never designed to juggle 5 things at once. Yet here we are, bouncing between email, text threads, browser tabs, and half-finished tasks, all while sipping cold coffee and wondering why we feel fried by noon. You're not alone. Multitasking feels productive. It gives us the illusion of progress, the dopamine rush of switching, but underneath that mental ping-pong match is a brain hemorrhaging energy. Like leaving every light on in the house, multitasking drains your mental wattage faster than you realize. Imagine your focus as a beam of electricity. When it flows through a single wire, it powers a device. When you split that current into 10 flimsy cables, nothing gets enough juice to work properly. The brain works the same way. Neuroimaging studies show that every time you switch tasks, your brain undergoes a gear shift. That shift, called context switching, burns glucose, spikes stress, and leaves behind what researchers call attention residue. In simple terms, part of your brain stays stuck on the last thing, muddying your clarity for the next. Here's the kicker: multitasking isn't even real. You're not doing tasks simultaneously. You're rapidly toggling between them, and every toggle has a cost. A study from Stanford found that heavy multitaskers performed worse on memory tests and attention tasks than those who focused on one thing at a time. They were more easily distracted, less efficient, and ironically, less capable of multitasking themselves. Still think switching is saving time? Think of a chef trying to make 5 dishes at once, chopping here, stirring there, checking the oven, plating this. Sounds impressive until the pasta's overcooked, the steak's cold, and the sauce burns. Now imagine that same chef cooking one dish to completion before starting the next. Same ingredients. Very different outcome. Focus isn't just about discipline, it's an energy management strategy. It preserves the finite charge in your mental battery. By eliminating unnecessary switches, you reduce cognitive friction and build momentum. So what can you do in a world that demands divided attention? First, protect your focus zones like sacred space. Choose a task, set a timer, 25 minutes is a good start, and commit to going deep. Close the tabs, silence the buzz, and let your mind do what it was built to do, concentrate. Afterward, take a short break. Let your brain breathe, then repeat. Repeat. Second, batch the shallow stuff. Emails, messages, admin work, group them, handle them during designated time blocks, instead of letting them ambush your day like a marching band barging into a library. Lastly, audit your switches. For one day, keep track of how often you bounce between tasks. The number might shock you, but awareness precedes improvement. Every switch you eliminate is a drop of energy saved and clarity gained. Here's the truth: your brain loves simplicity. It thrives when it can sink into one thing fully, like a musician lost in a melody or a craftsman absorbed in their work. That's when real progress happens. That's when energy compounds instead of scatters. Multitasking doesn't make you a superhero. It makes you a leaky battery. Focus, on the other hand, channels your energy like a high-voltage wire, clear, powerful, and purpose-driven. Tomorrow, when the tabs tempt you, remember this: every time you choose single tasking, you choose efficiency, clarity, and energy. And over time, those choices stack into momentum, because productivity isn't about doing more, it's about doing right. Multitasking drains energy through frequent context switching. Focus preserves cognitive resources and builds momentum. Eliminating mental toggling leads to clearer, more effective work. Where in your daily routine do you lose the most energy to switching? Today, set a 25-minute timer and complete one task start to finish. No tabs, no toggles, no interruptions. Chapter 2. Voltage and Vision: How Focus Powers Deep Work. Picture a flashlight. It casts a wide beam, illuminating everything vaguely, but nothing intensely. Now imagine a laser, narrow, targeted, able to cut through steel. Both use light. But the laser's power lies in its focus. Your mind works the same way. Diffused attention makes you busy. Concentrated attention makes you powerful. The human brain is an energy-hungry machine. Your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, handles planning, decision-making, and problem-solving. But it's not infinite. It tires quickly and works best under one condition: clarity. When you know what to focus on and why it matters, the brain lights up. It enters a state researchers call deep work, a period of intense, distraction-free concentration where cognitive output soars. But clarity is rare in most people's workday. We jump into tasks without asking what's essential. We skim instead of studying. We react instead of choose, and without direction, focus withers. It's like revving an engine with no gear engaged, lots of noise, no movement. Focus, neurologically speaking, is about signal over noise. Every second, your brain filters an avalanche of stimuli. It needs a filter, a north star, a voltage path. That's where vision comes in. When you're clear on what matters, your mind ignores the rest. You gain a mental edge called selective attention. It's why athletes tune out crowds, and why a mother hears her baby's cry in a noisy room. The brain locks on to what it deems important. Here's the science. Studies show that people who clarify their goal before starting a task enter flow states more quickly. Blood flow increases in the prefrontal cortex. Distractions lose their grip. The mind aligns with the mission. Focus becomes a current, not a chore. But it starts with intention. Ask yourself before any task, what's the outcome I want? Not just write the report, but write a report that convinces the client to buy. Not work out, but build stamina for next month's hike. Purpose sharpens attention like a lens. Still, intention alone isn't enough. You need to protect the conditions for focus. The mind can't go deep in shallow waters. Set boundaries. Block time. Choose environments where your brain knows it's game time. The fewer decisions your brain has to make, the more power it saves for the task itself. And then, go all in. Let your brain sink into the work like a diver into deep water. It might take a few minutes. The first 5 are often friction. But stay with it. You're rewiring the circuitry that makes deep work possible. There's a reason some of history's greatest thinkers worked in total isolation. Newton during the plague. Darwin at his study. It wasn't magic, it was deep focus. The laser. The voltage. Not more effort, just better direction. Don't confuse busyness for effectiveness. You can spend 10 hours reacting and move an inch, or spend 2 hours focused and move a mile. When you work with voltage, deliberate, focused energy, you amplify output without exhausting yourself. Your day doesn't need more tasks. It needs more clarity. Start with vision, then apply voltage. You'll be shocked what your brain can do when it's not split 100 ways. Focus isn't a restriction, it's freedom. It's choosing where your energy goes, instead of letting the world decide for you. Once you experience that current, steady, directed, powerful, you'll crave it, you'll guard it, you'll use it to carve out work that matters. Because deep work isn't just how you get more done. It's how you get the right things done, with meaning, momentum, and mastery. Your brain focuses best when it knows what matters and why. Deep work requires clear intention and protected space. Focus isn't effort, it's directed energy that compounds. What's one task you routinely do without clarity, and how could defining the purpose improve it? Before your next task, write down the result you want in one sentence. Let that intention shape your focus. Chapter 3. Training attention like a muscle. Focus isn't magic, it's muscle. And like any muscle, it strengthens through resistance, repetition, and rest. The problem is, most people treat attention like a light switch, on or off, rather than something that can be trained. But science says otherwise. Your ability to concentrate is adaptive. It can grow. It can fatigue. And with the right habits, it can become one of your greatest assets. Think about physical training. You don't expect to run a marathon without conditioning. You start with shorter distances, you build stamina, you increase intensity. The same is true for mental endurance. Every time you resist a distraction, you're doing a rep. Every focus block of time is a set. Every intentional pause to recharge is recovery. This shift in mindset, from fixed to trainable, changes everything. The modern world isn't built for attention, it's engineered for interruption. Your phone pings, your inbox dings. Your apps are designed by teams whose job is to steal your gaze. That's not weakness on your part. It's competition. And you win not by willpower alone, but by training your focus to outlast distraction. Start small. Don't expect hour-long concentration marathons out of nowhere. Begin with 10 to 15-minute focus sprints. Choose a task. Set a timer. Eliminate distractions. When your mind wanders, and it will, bring it back. That rep matters. The return is where growth lives. Over time, stretch those intervals. Go from 15 to 25 to 45 minutes. Track your sessions. Celebrate consistency over perfection. And don't forget the rest periods. Just like muscles need recovery, your brain needs downtime to consolidate effort and rebuild clarity. A short break, stretching, walking, breathing, resets your neural circuits far better than doom scrolling or snacking mindlessly. Now, let's talk about distractions. They're not just nuisances, they're training weights. Instead of resenting them, use them. Every time you ignore a notification, you're not just getting more done, you're sharpening neural pathways. You're making your brain better at resisting what doesn't matter. The prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain responsible for willpower, planning, and control. And like any part of the body, it responds to how you use it. MRI studies show that mindfulness and focused attention practices can literally change the structure of this region. That's not metaphor, it's measurable growth. You're not stuck with the attention span of a goldfish, you're just out of practice. Training attention isn't only about fighting distraction. It's about increasing your threshold for discomfort. The mind hates boredom, ambiguity, and challenge. It craves novelty and ease. But real work, the kind that moves your life forward, lives on the other side of that resistance. When you stay with the hard thing just a bit longer, you build focus resilience. Over time, the hard becomes easier. The fog clears faster. You stop flinching from silence and start using it. Of course, some days will be messy. Some sessions will flop. That's okay. Consistency, not perfection, builds mental strength. Think like an athlete. One bad workout doesn't derail the plan. You show up the next day. You put in the reps, and slowly your capacity changes. You'll notice it. Tasks that once felt overwhelming now fall into flow. You won't need to wrestle your brain into submission. It will lean into focus like a conditioned reflex. That's the power of training. It turns discipline into instinct. Your attention is your superpower, but only if you train it. Treat it like a muscle. Use it, challenge it, recover it. Over time, what once scattered your energy will barely dent your rhythm. You'll focus longer, deeper, smarter, and you'll realize energy isn't about having more, it's about wasting less. Attention is a trainable skill, not a fixed trait. Focus improves through repetition, resistance, and rest. Distractions become opportunities to strengthen attention over time. When was the last time you trained your focus on purpose, and what was the result? Set a 15-minute timer today. Choose one task. Ignore every distraction. Count one rep, then repeat tomorrow. Chapter 4. The Tools of Focus, Time Blocking, Pomodoro, and Task Design. Most people don't lose their day to big disasters. They lose it in tiny leaks, an email here, a scroll there, a 5-minute task that mutates into 40. Before they know it, the day is gone, and their brain feels like it's been microwaved. But it's not just lack of discipline, it's lack of design. Focus doesn't happen by accident, it happens by architecture. Enter the tools. Time blocking, Pomodoro, and task design aren't just productivity hacks. They're mental frameworks, structures that tell your brain, this is what we're doing now, and nothing else. They carve out mental lanes, so your attention stops swerving all over the place. Time blocking is the calendar-based method of scheduling your focus before the day begins. Instead of listing what you want to do, you assign when you'll do it. 1 hour for writing, 30 minutes for emails, 90 minutes for deep work. Like putting money into envelopes, time blocking ensures you spend your most valuable resource, your focus, with intention. And it works. Studies show that when people pre-commit to tasks at specific times, their completion rates jump and mental fatigue drops. Then there's the Pomodoro technique, deceptively simple but surprisingly powerful. Named after the tomato-shaped kitchen timer, this method breaks work into 25-minute sprints, followed by a 5-minute break. 4 rounds in, you take a longer break. The genius isn't the timer. It's the rhythm. Your brain gets used to bursts of effort followed by quick recovery. You trick yourself into starting, because 25 minutes feels doable, and once you begin, momentum does the rest. But here's where most people fail: they choose the wrong tasks. It's not just about managing time, it's about managing what you focus on. That's where task design comes in. Vague, bloated to-dos like work on project kill momentum. Your brain doesn't know where to start. But when tasks are sliced into action-ready chunks, outline intro paragraph or email Sarah about the pitch, the fog lifts. Clear tasks activate decision circuits faster. You act instead of overthink. Here's a tip: write your tasks like you're delegating them to someone else. Specific, observable, measurable. The clearer the action, the less resistance your brain feels to doing it. And when you combine clear tasks with scheduled focus blocks and a rhythm like Pomodoro, you get a productivity trifecta. Still, no tool works in isolation. They function best as habits, not one-time experiments. The brain loves routine. The more consistently you use these tools, the more your brain starts to associate certain times with certain types of work. That's called cognitive priming. For example, if you always write from 8 to 9 with your phone in another room, your brain will begin preparing for deep work the moment you sit down. It's like muscle memory, but mental. Let's not pretend you'll get it perfect every day. Life is messy. Interruptions happen. But the point isn't rigidity, it's intentionality. A loosely followed system still outperforms scattered effort. Even a single 25-minute focus session is better than an entire day of digital whiplash. Think of these tools as scaffolding. They hold your attention in place long enough for it to take shape. With practice, they become part of your default operating system, just like brushing your teeth or locking your door. You stop debating whether to focus, because the decision was already made when you built your day. Focus is fragile in a world of noise, but structure makes it strong. The right tools don't limit you, they liberate your mind from chaos and let your energy flow where it matters. Because you don't need more hours in the day, you need fewer leaks in your focus. Tools like time blocking and Pomodoro guide your brain into focused work states. Task clarity is essential. Vague to-dos create resistance. Structure reduces decision fatigue and turns focus into habit. Which focus tool have you ignored or misunderstood, and what might change if you gave it a real try? Tomorrow morning, time block one task using the Pomodoro method. Make it small, clear, and timed. Chapter 5. Dopamine, not discipline, what really drives you. You don't scroll for hours, binge watch a show, or check your phone again out of sheer laziness. You do it because your brain loves dopamine. Not the kind you get after success, but the kind you get before it. And the anticipation. The chase. That's where real motivation begins. And that's why most productivity advice fails. It ignores the chemistry. Discipline sounds noble, but it's rarely sustainable. Willpower is like a matchstick. It burns bright, then fades fast. What really moves you isn't brute force, it's biology. Specifically, your brain's dopamine system. Often called the pleasure chemical, dopamine is better understood as the molecule of motivation. It doesn't spike when you get the reward, it spikes when you're pursuing the reward. At the little hit of progress, the small sign you're getting closer, that's what keeps you going. But here's the trap: modern distractions hijack that system. Social media, email, endless notifications, they're all engineered to drip-feed dopamine. And just like junk food ruins your appetite for real nourishment, these shallow hits ruin your drive for deeper goals. Your brain gets used to quick wins and loses interest in delayed rewards. That's why long-term goals feel boring. Writing a book, launching a business, finishing a degree, they don't deliver instant dopamine. They require effort without immediate payoff. But that doesn't mean you lack drive. It means your brain needs better cues. So how do you outsmart your own chemistry? You start by making motivation visible. The brain craves signs of progress, tiny wins, markers that say we're getting somewhere. When you track your efforts, checklists, habit streaks, milestone counters, you feed your dopamine system in a productive way. It's not about tricking yourself. It's about aligning your goals with how your brain already works. Next, create anticipation. Break your goal into chunks that end in something desirable. Not big, abstract rewards like someday I'll be successful, but small ones you actually care about. Finish the chapter, then enjoy a walk. Complete the proposal, then watch that episode. You're not bribing yourself, you're activating the pursuit response. And here's something most people overlook: novelty matters. Your brain gets bored. When a task becomes routine, dopamine drops. That doesn't mean ditch the task, it means refresh it. Change your environment. Use a new tool. Set a quirky challenge, turn it into a game. Even subtle changes can revive your internal spark. Now, let's flip the myth of lazy. If you've ever spent hours deep in a video game or building a playlist or organizing something just right, you know you're not lazy. You're capable of deep focus when dopamine aligns with the task. The trick is learning to engineer that alignment. Start by asking better questions. Not how do I force myself to do this, but how can I make this task more engaging? Not why can't I stay disciplined, but what kind of progress would feel rewarding today? These questions flip the script, from guilt to curiosity, and curiosity, it turns out, is another powerful dopamine trigger. The truth is, motivation doesn't just happen. It's built. It's cultivated. It's the result of designing your environment, your tasks, and your expectations in a way that works with your brain's natural wiring. When you stop glorifying discipline and start leveraging dopamine, something changes. Tasks feel lighter. Resistance shrinks, momentum builds. Not because you tried harder, but because you worked smarter. So the next time you catch yourself procrastinating, don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" Ask instead, "Where's the reward in this?" Then build it in. One clear goal. One small win, one spark of progress. Because energy isn't about force, it's about fuel. And your fuel is dopamine. Dopamine motivates by anticipating rewards, not receiving them. Small wins and visible progress feed sustainable drive. Aligning tasks with reward and novelty activates motivation naturally. Where in your life are you relying on discipline alone, and what dopamine cue could you add instead? Pick one task today. Before starting, define the win, and choose a reward you'll enjoy right after completing it. Chapter 6. Progress Addiction: Why Micro Wins Matter. There's a reason checking a box on your to-do list feels so good. It's not just satisfaction, it's chemistry. That tiny tick releases dopamine, reinforcing the behavior and nudging your brain to want more of it. It's addictive in the best possible way. Progress, even in small doses, creates a feedback loop that fuels motivation and momentum. The mistake people make isn't laziness, it's thinking only the big wins matter. Launch the product. Lose 20 pounds, write the whole book. But big goals are intimidating. They're far off. They don't feed your brain regularly, so motivation fades and your focus slips. That's why people start strong and stall quickly, because they don't design for progress. They design for completion. But completion is rare. Progress is daily. And when you train yourself to look for micro wins, you keep the engine running. You feel capable, energized, hungry for more. It's not a matter of ego, it's biology. The brain is wired to notice forward motion, and even the smallest step forward is enough to light up your internal reward system. Here's what most don't realize: momentum doesn't come from finishing, it comes from starting and moving. That first step? That's the ignition. One Pomodoro session completed. One hard email sent. One workout begun. These aren't trivial, they're traction. They tell your brain, we're doing this, and the body follows. You've probably felt this without even noticing it. Those days when you knock out 3 small tasks early and suddenly feel unstoppable. That's not coincidence, it's neurological compounding. Each win increases the probability of the next. It's behavioral momentum. And when you stack small wins, you shift identity too. You don't just feel productive, you start to see yourself as someone who makes things happen. To harness this, you need to break your goals down with surgical precision. Don't just write blog post. Write brainstorm title ideas, then outline 3 bullet points, then draft first paragraph. Every completed step is a micro win. It builds rhythm, and rhythm beats motivation every time. It also helps to visualize progress. Don't rely on your memory. Use visible tools, checklists, habit trackers, apps with progress bars. Your brain craves visible evidence of motion. It's why fitness apps explode with charts. It's not about data, it's about dopamine. Seeing the line go up makes your brain want to keep going. And yes, celebrate. It doesn't have to be a party, a pause, a deep breath. A moment to recognize movement. This isn't fluff, it's reinforcement. It tells your brain the work matters and it's worth repeating. The key is consistency. Micro wins lose their power if they're scattered. That's why building daily rituals around them helps. A morning focus block. An evening recap, a midday reset. Anchor your actions so the wins come naturally. Before long, you won't be chasing productivity, you'll be riding it. It's easy to dismiss the small stuff, to wait for the big win, the major breakthrough, the perfect moment. But those moments are built on the invisible steps no one sees, the micro victories, the compound effort, the seemingly boring actions that, stacked together, create unstoppable momentum. Progress doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. It just has to be steady. And once you start tracking those wins, even the smallest ones, you'll begin to see how much energy you've been leaving on the table. Because motivation doesn't come from finishing. It comes from moving. And every micro win is a signal to your brain, keep going. You're becoming the kind of person who gets things done. Small wins trigger dopamine and reinforce forward motion. Visible progress creates momentum and sustains motivation. Breaking tasks into micro steps turns overwhelming goals into energizing actions. Where have you been chasing big wins, and what micro win could you build into your routine today? Take one task you've been avoiding, break it into 3 tiny steps. Complete the first one now and check it off. Chapter 7. The Antidote to Apathy, Goals That Spark. A goal without emotion is just a task. Tasks without meaning die fast. That's why so many resolutions collapse by February. They're logical, but lifeless. You write them down because you should, they sound good. But deep down, they don't move you, and if it doesn't move you, it won't sustain you. Apathy isn't a lack of ambition. It's a disconnect. You care, but not enough. You want the result, but not the path. You see the mountain, but the climb feels cold, and here's why. Your brain isn't wired to chase abstract outcomes. It wants to feel something now, urgency, excitement, reward. Otherwise, it disengages. Enter emotionally charged goals. The kind that spark, not just make sense. The kind that light up your mental dashboard and pull you toward action without force. These aren't I should goals. These are I must goals, and the difference is chemical. When a goal is emotionally resonant, it activates the limbic system, your brain's emotion center. It creates a neurochemical cocktail of anticipation and drive. Dopamine rises. Motivation follows, and unlike shallow tasks, these goals create a durable energy loop. You think about them when you wake up. You feel pulled instead of pushed. You stop asking, how do I stay motivated? Because the motivation is baked in. But not all emotion is created equal. Guilt is weak fuel, so is shame. They push, but they don't sustain. What works is clarity combined with desire, a goal that feels personal, relevant, exciting. Maybe even a little scary. That's where spark lives. To build goals like this, start with specificity. Be healthier is a nice intention. Have the energy to hike 10 miles with my kids this summer is a goal that breathes. It has a picture, a purpose, and a payoff. Your brain can grab it, visualize it, anticipate it. That anticipation is where drive begins. Next, tie your goals to identity. Don't just say, I want to write a book. Say, I want to become someone who finishes things that matter. That shift changes your wiring. You're not just chasing outcomes, you're reinforcing who you believe you are. And identity-linked goals have a stronger motivational backbone. They're not about performance, they're about becoming. Also, shorten the feedback loop. A goal that takes 6 months to feel progress is a recipe for burnout. Instead, break it into mini missions, 30 days. 2 weeks, 1 day. Give your brain a win it can feel in the near term. It's not lowering the bar, it's building a staircase. And remember, emotion doesn't mean chaos. A sparking goal still needs structure. Schedule it, track it, make it visual. That combination, emotional ignition plus mechanical support, is where real momentum builds. Of course, some days you won't feel it. That's normal. Spark doesn't eliminate friction, it just makes the struggle feel worth it. It gives the hard moments context. You're not just checking boxes, you're building something that matters to you. That's the difference between burning out and burning bright. If your goals feel dull, don't blame your discipline, rethink your direction. Ask yourself, does this goal make me feel something now? If not, go deeper. Find the story behind the goal, the moment you want to create, the person you want to become. Then shape the goal around that spark, because clarity powers focus. Emotion fuels action, and when you combine both, you don't chase your goals, they chase you. Emotionally charged goals activate lasting motivation. Clear, personal goals that tie to identity have stronger staying power. Mini goals with fast feedback loops build momentum and spark. Which of your current goals feels flat, and how could you reshape it to spark emotion and clarity? Rewrite one goal today. Make it personal, vivid, and linked to who you want to become. Then speak it out loud. Chapter 8. Building a momentum loop, tracking, feedback, and rewards. Momentum is what happens when effort becomes easier the longer you keep going. It's why starting is the hardest part, and stopping is the most dangerous. When you're in motion, staying in motion feels natural. But motion isn't magic, it's engineered. And the secret is building a loop your brain wants to stay in. Most people chase motivation, hoping it'll show up and carry them through the day. But motivation is unreliable. Momentum is better. It doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what you've done. It feeds itself, grows stronger with repetition, and builds energy as it builds progress. To create that loop, you need 3 ingredients: tracking, feedback, and reward. Not complicated, just consistent. These 3 elements form the cycle your brain recognizes as progress. Without them, effort feels like spinning your wheels. With them, even hard work feels like traction. Tracking is the starting point. What gets measured gets managed, yes, but more importantly, what gets seen gets repeated. When you write down your habits, log your sessions, or check off a task, you reinforce the behavior. Your brain sees progress. It lights up, and it says, let's do that again. It's not about spreadsheets or apps. It's about visibility. Whether it's a journal, a whiteboard, or tally marks on a wall, your brain craves concrete signs that you're moving forward. Next is feedback. This is the signal that tells you not just what you did, but how it's working. Are you getting faster? Stronger? More consistent? Feedback isn't judgment, it's information. It guides the next step. A runner tracks pace. A writer tracks word count. A student tracks comprehension. Without feedback, you're working in the dark. With it, you're adjusting in real time. You become a scientist of your own productivity. And then, reward. This is the part most people skip or misunderstand. They think reward has to be big, external, or earned only at the finish line. But the best rewards are immediate, emotional, and tied to the behavior, not just the result. A moment of pride, a mental fist bump, a quiet walk, something that tells your brain, this matters. It doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be felt. When these three elements repeat, track, get feedback, feel reward, you create a loop. And loops are sticky. The more you cycle through, the stronger the habit becomes. It's like a wheel building speed. At first it takes effort. But once it's spinning, it carries you. That's why streaks matter. Not because perfection is required, but because breaking the chain slows the wheel. This doesn't mean punishment when you miss a day. It means quick recovery. The real danger isn't failure, it's drifting. One missed day is human. 5 in a row is a new pattern. So when the loop breaks, rebuild it fast. That's how pros stay consistent, not by never slipping, but by returning quicker. Here's a trick: build visible loops. Create a habit tracker you see daily. Write mini reflections to reinforce feedback. Celebrate your wins out loud. Visibility makes momentum real. Otherwise, it fades into background noise and loses its grip. In the end, momentum isn't a mystery. It's a system. One you can build. One that makes action easier, even on days when motivation is low. Because once you feel the loop, the rhythm of effort turning into energy, you stop waiting to feel inspired. You just start, and the loop pulls you forward. Momentum is engineered through tracking, feedback, and reward. Visibility and consistency strengthen behavioral loops. Fast recovery after setbacks preserves energy and progress. Where are you relying on willpower? And how could building a loop make progress feel automatic? Choose one habit. Start a simple tracker today. Mark one win, write one sentence of feedback, and give yourself a small reward. Chapter 9. The Brain's Maintenance Manual: Sleep, Movement, Hydration. You wouldn't floor a sports car on an empty tank, skip every oil change, and then wonder why it sputters. Yet that's how most people treat their brain. Push harder, sleep less, skip meals, sit all day, hustle. Then they wonder why focus slips, mood swing, and creativity dies. High performance isn't just about strategy, it's about maintenance. Your brain runs on biology. And like any high-powered engine, it requires regular care. Ignore the basics: sleep, movement, hydration, and no amount of hacks or habits can save your energy. These aren't bonus features, they're the foundation, and without them, even your best efforts run uphill. Start with sleep. It's not rest, it's repair. During deep sleep, your brain consolidates memory, clears toxins, and resets emotional regulation. Miss it, and the effects are immediate. Studies show even one night of poor sleep drops attention, slows reaction time, and increases stress reactivity. Your brain on no sleep is like a phone stuck at 10%. Every app drains it, and performance tanks. You might be awake, but you're not operating. Most adults need 7 to 9 hours, but it's not just quantity, it's consistency. The brain thrives on rhythm. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day stabilizes your circadian system, which regulates hormones, mood, and energy. Irregular sleep patterns confuse that system. It's like switching time zones daily. Your brain spends all its energy trying to recalibrate. Then there's movement. Not six-pack workouts or marathon medals, just motion, a brisk walk. Stretching. Dancing in the kitchen. Movement increases blood flow, oxygen, and the delivery of nutrients to your brain. It also releases BDNF, a protein that strengthens neural connections. Think of it as fertilizer for your focus. Even 10 minutes of movement can elevate mood and enhance cognition. You're not just moving your body, you're fueling your mind. Sitting, on the other hand, is quiet sabotage. Long hours of stillness slow circulation, stiffen joints, and dull alertness. You don't notice it at first. Then one afternoon your thinking fogs, your posture collapses, and your energy crashes. It's not burnout, it's stagnation. The solution isn't a standing desk gimmick. It's simple breaks. Micro movements: stand, stretch, walk around the block. Recharge your circulation, and you'll recharge your cognition. Hydration is the third pillar. and the most overlooked. Your brain is over 70% water. Dehydration, even mild, impairs focus, memory, and mood. Yet most people operate in a low-grade deficit all day, sipping coffee but skipping water. It doesn't take much. Even a 1% drop in hydration can reduce cognitive performance. The fix? Simple. Start your day with water. Keep it nearby. Drink before you're thirsty. Build the habit, and your brain will thank you with clarity. These basics sound boring, but they're brutally effective, because your biology doesn't care about your ambition. It doesn't care how long your to-do list is. It obeys rhythm, not urgency. And when you align with that rhythm, sleep deeply, move regularly, hydrate consistently, you stop working against yourself. What feels like burnout is often just neglect. A tired brain isn't lazy. It's asking for care. And when you give it that care, you unlock levels of energy that no supplement or strategy can mimic. If you want to perform like a high performer, treat your body like high-performance equipment. Maintain it, protect it, fuel it, not just once in a while but daily, not just when you crash, but before you get there. Because energy doesn't come from pushing harder, it comes from recovering better. Sleep, movement, and hydration are foundational to cognitive energy. Even small deficits in rest or hydration can dramatically impact focus and mood. Consistent maintenance habits unlock sustainable performance. Where are you sacrificing basic brain care, and what's the cost to your energy and clarity? Tonight, set an alarm to start winding down 30 minutes earlier. Tomorrow, drink a full glass of water upon waking and take a 10-minute walk. Chapter 10. The Restorative Power of Boredom. Boredom gets a bad rap. We treat it like an enemy, something to be escaped, filled, silenced. The second it shows up, we reach for a screen, a scroll, a sound, anything but stillness. But here's the irony: in trying to avoid boredom, we avoid one of the brain's most powerful restoration tools. Boredom isn't a flaw. It's a signal. It tells your brain, we've cleared the noise. Now let's connect the dots. When you allow your mind to wander, not aimlessly, but gently, you activate the brain's default mode network. That's the system responsible for reflection, creativity, and insight. It kicks in when you're not focused on any task in particular. Ever wonder why your best ideas show up in the shower or while driving in silence? That's not luck. That's cognitive recovery. The modern world has declared war on boredom. Every moment is packed. Podcasts during chores, emails at red lights, social media in the bathroom. We've squeezed every ounce of stillness out of our lives, and the cost is enormous. Without space, the brain can't breathe. It becomes a machine of reaction instead of reflection. Stillness isn't laziness. It's processing. When you pause, your mind reviews, organizes, repairs. It files away what matters. It lets go of what doesn't. That's why boredom often feels uncomfortable. It's the mental equivalent of cleaning a cluttered room. Things get messy before they make sense. But boredom doesn't require meditation cushions or hours of silence. It can begin with small spaces. Waiting in line without pulling out your phone, driving with the radio off, sitting outside for 10 minutes with no agenda. These moments invite your mind back into its own rhythm. They reconnect you with your thoughts, instead of drowning them in stimulation. This isn't about escaping reality. It's about re-entering it with clarity. Constant input leads to mental fatigue. Your brain can only process so much before it starts buffering. When you give it space, real, unscheduled space, it resets. That's when emotional regulation returns. That's when creativity spikes. That's when energy refills. Children instinctively understand this. When left alone, they create. They imagine. They explore their inner world. Adults, on the other hand, panic. The second stillness arrives, they fill it. Productivity is good. Constant input is not. There's a difference between doing nothing and doing something that restores you. Boredom also sharpens focus. When your brain resets, it becomes more sensitive to what matters. You notice ideas. You recognize patterns. You return to work with sharper edges and steadier hands. Athletes call this tapering. Musicians call it rest. Creatives call it incubation. All of them understand what many high achievers forget. Recovery isn't a break from the work, it's part of the work. You don't have to earn rest with exhaustion. You don't need to crash before you pause. Build white space into your day on purpose. Schedule it. Protect it. Let it be quiet, even awkward. Then, wait. On the other side of that discomfort is renewal. The most productive minds aren't always grinding, they're creating from depth. That depth comes from space. That space begins with boredom. Let it in, let it work. Trust that your brain knows what to do with stillness, if only you give it the chance. Because in a world that worships busy, the most radical act of energy recovery might be doing absolutely nothing, for a few powerful minutes. Boredom activates the brain's default mode network, critical for creativity and insight. Constant stimulation prevents mental recovery and dulls focus. Embracing stillness restores energy, sharpens clarity, and unlocks new ideas. Where in your day could you create a space for intentional boredom, and what might it give back to you? Take 5 minutes today to do nothing. No phone, no input, no task. Just sit and notice what your mind starts to do. Chapter 11. Productivity Output, Redefining Success. Somewhere along the way, productivity became a scoreboard. How many tasks did you crush? How many hours did you grind? How many emails did you fire off before breakfast? The culture of output trains us to equate motion with meaning, but high energy doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what matters, with clarity and intention. Your brain isn't built for constant production, it's built for rhythm, focus, then rest, action, then reflection. When you ignore that rhythm in favor of non-stop output, you burn fast and break down faster. What looks like achievement on the outside often masks depletion on the inside. And no to-do list is worth trading your mental clarity for chronic fatigue. The truth is, not all work is created equal. 1 hour of aligned, meaningful effort often outpaces 5 hours of reactive busy work. You've felt the difference. Deep work leaves you fulfilled, shallow work leaves you scattered. It's not about working harder, it's about working on purpose. To shift out of the output trap, you need a better definition of success, not volume, not velocity, but value. What did you create today that moves something forward, your project, your relationships, your personal growth? What did you do today that only you could have done? That's the real measure. And it has nothing to do with how fast you answered messages. Reframing productivity starts with an energy audit. At the end of the day, ask, where did my energy go? What drained it? What restored it? You'll start to notice patterns. Certain tasks pull you into focus, others flatten you. Certain times of day lift you, others drag. When you spot the patterns, you gain control. You stop filling your calendar with low-return activities and start designing for flow. Then, align your tasks with your values. The misalignment is what drains people most, doing work that feels hollow. Chasing goals that aren't yours, saying yes out of guilt or fear. It's a slow leak, and no productivity system can compensate for the exhaustion of living off purpose. Redefining productivity also means acknowledging your limits. You're not a machine. You weren't meant to operate at 100% all day, every day. Even peak performers have cycles. Olympians train, then rest. Writers sprint, then pause. CEOs delegate. Nobody sustains high output without strategy. You're allowed to slow down. You're allowed to recalibrate. This isn't permission to slack. It's permission to be strategic, or to choose depth over breadth. To protect your attention like a valuable asset. Because it is. Your attention is your most precious currency. Spend it on things that compound. When you chase output for its own sake, you become reactive. You do more but remember less. You check more boxes but make fewer breakthroughs. But when you anchor productivity in purpose and energy, you build something sustainable. You don't just get things done, you grow in the process. Let go of the badge of busyness. Replace it with intentionality. Not just, what did I do today? But what did I move forward today? That shift rewires how you see time, effort, and success itself. Because productivity isn't about being faster or busier. It's about being effective, aligned, and energized. It's about trading frantic output for focused impact. And in the long run, impact always outlasts activity. Real productivity is about value and alignment, not volume and speed. An energy audit helps reveal which tasks drain or restore your focus. Purposeful work sustains energy longer than reactive busy work. What are you doing consistently that looks productive, but leaves you depleted or unfulfilled. Tonight, write down 3 things you did today. Circle the one that mattered most. Tomorrow, do that first. Chapter 12. Designing a limitless energy system for life. Limitless energy isn't a myth. It's a system. Not a feeling that shows up when you're lucky, but a rhythm you create on purpose. The people who seem effortlessly productive aren't superhuman. They've simply learned to align their biology, focus, and recovery into a repeatable pattern that works for them, not against them. Your brain is a battery. And like any high-performing device, it operates best when it's managed with care. You don't let your phone run all day on 2%. You don't leave every app open and expect smooth performance. Yet that's how most people live, draining attention, ignoring rest, and wondering why they're exhausted. The solution isn't a hack. It's a system, one that includes focus blocks to direct energy, motivational fuel to sustain effort, and recovery rituals to prevent burnout. When those 3 pillars, focus, drive, and rest, are integrated into your routine, your energy becomes renewable, not infinite, but sustainable. You stop crashing and start cycling. The key is design. You don't wait until you're depleted to rest. You schedule it in. You don't rely on hope to stay motivated. You build in goals, feedback, and rewards that trigger your brain's dopamine systems. You don't let distractions dictate your day. You architect it, using time blocking, intention setting, and task clarity. You start by identifying your peak energy windows. Everyone has natural highs and lows. For some, it's early morning. For others, late afternoon. Pay attention. Use those peak hours for your most important work, the stuff that requires depth and creativity. Guard those blocks. Let everything else orbit around them. Next, automate your recharge. Don't wait until you're fried to stretch, drink water, or shut your laptop. Create a rhythm, deep work followed by a short break, movement in the middle of the day, quiet time built in, a bedtime that respects your brain's need for restoration. You don't need a perfect routine, just one that honors your biology. Then build your drive loop. Set clear, emotionally resonant goals. Break them into micro wins. Track your streaks. Reflect often. Celebrate small victories. Make motivation visible. Dopamine loves evidence, not theories, so give it what it wants, proof that you're moving. Finally, simplify. Energy leaks through complexity. Endless tabs. Vague plans. Cluttered priorities. Streamline your tools. Make decisions in batches. Reduce friction. The less mental weight you carry, the more power you preserve for the work that matters. This isn't about discipline, it's about design. A well-designed system makes the right choice the easy choice. It reduces reliance on willpower and turns productivity into a lifestyle, not a grind. You'll still have off days. Life will interrupt your flow, but systems give you something to return to. They offer structure when motivation fails. They let you fall without unraveling. That's what makes them powerful, not perfection, but stability. Think of your energy like a bank account. Every focus session is a deposit. Every distraction is a withdrawal. Every night of good sleep adds interest. Every skipped break adds debt. The goal isn't to be rich in hours, it's to be rich in clarity, capacity, and rhythm. And design a system that protects what matters. One that energizes you, not drains you. That builds momentum instead of burnout. One you can live inside, not chase. Because true productivity isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things, the right way, at the right time. And when that system becomes second nature, you'll realize limitless energy was never about more power. It was about smarter flow. Limitless energy is the result of a repeatable system, not constant effort. Designing routines around focus, drive, and recovery creates sustainable performance. Simplicity and rhythm preserve clarity and momentum. What's one simple system you could build this week to protect your energy instead of spending it reactively? Map out tomorrow in 3 zones: focus, recharge, and fuel. Plan one concrete action in each. And follow through. Take care and be well.